But I want to talk about how they finally did another rehash of an origin story. Good. Because we've seen 70 Batman movies and we always see his parents die. We see him as a kid. He gets raised by Alfred.
Not to already go on a fucking tangent, but
tangents are great.
What is your favorite Batman origin story out of all of them?
Like the movie, you mean?
Yeah.
I like the way they did it in BVS a lot.
I agree, because it was almost like
it was
an
just
intro.
the credit scene.
That's fucking perfect.
But if we hadn't seen it 75 times before that, they would have needed more. But I do like that it was just mixed with the credits and it was fine.
So
it was like all poetic and shit with the music and the pearls and the...
I'm sorry, your name's really small, but it looks like
we
Paul.
won't say
Please
spoilers.
do spoilers, so they said.
Please,
No
no spoilers.
spoilers.
No,
please,
we
no
won't,
spoil- no,
we
we
won't do
won't.
spoilers.
I haven't seen it, so
Yeah, I'm
they're
not
going
gonna
to do a
spoil
non-spoiler thing, but they're going to kind of talk about it generally, okay?
Spider-Man dies.
Generally.
Just kidding. He just doesn't die. Now, Batman origin story, probably BVS.
Spoiler, he lives!
Pissed. I like BVS. What do you think? Batman Origins?
I've only seen it once, so I can't go into details about it, but the origin story in Mask of the Phantasm, it's one of the animated movies, which is very good.
Nice.
But if we're talking like the live actions, I didn't like it in the Tim Burton one because it ended up being the Joker. It was kind of stupid.
With her fucking scream. In the fucking first Batman.
And then in Batman Forever, it ended up being Two-Face.
Yeah, I don't know.
That killed him.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would have to say Batman Begins then because they actually did it correctly because Joe Chill was the guy that killed his parents and
The fucking cigarette guy?
Yep. No.
What?
Yeah, that was his name. So like when he came back from college and went to the trial, Joe Chill was the one that was on trial. So like that was the
Pissed.
yeah.
Listen,
Anyways, well,
I'm not on board
I
with
don't
that.
care.
I care a
It
little
really
bit.
doesn't bother me if they redo it, as long as they redo it right. I'm not big. If you expand on the story by making it Two-Face and it's better, I'm okay with that. But the Two-Face one sucked ass, so it's like, okay, no. But the Batman vs Superman one, it didn't even show the guy.
right.
They didn't give him a name, and I almost like that better because it's more hands off.
Yeah.
need-
You don't worry about who
Right.
it is. It's the fact that it happened.
Because it's Batman holding a grudge against
Gotham.
crime and Gotham. It's okay. As opposed to like one specific person.
No, yeah, and it's the cause of Gotham.
Right.
It's the reaction of what the city has become. Is that guy so desperate he's going to shoot a random guy and woman?
Right.
That,
Well,
no,
'cause, like,
I
in front of
their son.
Listen, we're talking. No, I'm kidding.
Arguably, Batman and Superman are the most known origin stories just because they were the first superheroes given like big films. So like you don't need to redo Superman's story ever. You know he's from Krypton. Great. And then
That
you
is
don't need to
kinda
redo
true.
Batman's because we all know that his parents were shot in an alley.
Yeah.
Great.
Spider-Man is probably
But-
number 3 though.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is because Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the Sam Raimi movies kind of restarted. I mean, arguably the first X-Men movie did, but kind of restarted superhero movies because that's like after
Yeah.
Batman and Robin and like the terrible Superman movies came out. Everyone's like, okay, sick of superheroes, they suck.
Didn't
And
we
then
talk about which one was first? X-Men, I think, was first.
Yeah.
X-Men was, that's why I
Okay.
said technically.
Yeah, so
it was
those
X-Men.
probably about around the same time did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just finished Logan, and it was technically the same scoop of
There's
Wolverine
like 13
throughout.
movies with fucking
I know.
Wolverine.
Well,
in
Days
it.
of
crazy.
Future Past brought it all together, so they are all
I need to
connected.
fucking go watch those.
There's still that plot hole between X1, 2, 3, and Days of Future Past. Because in the first one,
No, he said no.
What do you say? what plot hole?
Xavier dies
In 3.
in X3.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he shows up in the same
Oh, I see what you're saying.
timeline in Days of Future Past in the future.
Well, here's the thing.
And he's just like, you're not the only one with healing ability or something like
Someone was
stupid.
trying to explain, like,
well,
the
here's what's
timeline
stupid
splits.
is that they set up at the end of the terrible third X-Men movie that he came back in like a different body or something. Like, I don't know if you remember that end credit scene.
So he like soul transferred over, like
Right, which
Darth
that
Bane.
is a comic storyline, so it's whatever. But
Soul transfer.
you're right. You're right. That was a pothole. That's true. But I mean, how would they sell tickets if they didn't have Patrick Stewart in the movie? Let's be honest. So.
Listen, Patrick Stewart was my. Yeah, I have to put him a second favorite, but he was like half of Logan.
Yeah, he was
Crazy
great.
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Xavier was fucking perfect.
It was great.
I
really need to
was
see
so
that
happy
again.
with it. I was so happy. And the fact that they did, okay, this is the strongest mind in the universe.
Yeah.
But he also has Alzheimer's and has no fucking clue where he's at. It's just like, my mind's
perfect.
blown because of that. Because of
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
So going back, I was going to tie in. So the cool thing about Batman vs Superman is that they just they didn't have a scene. They just showed little bits and
Flashes
some cool
during
sequences
credits,
and
Yeah.
So in Spider-Man, minor spoiler, they just mention it. He just says
Just in
after
conversation.
he just says after all Aunt May's gone through, and you immediately are just oh yeah, duh, Uncle Ben died. Okay, great. We all
Wait,
get that.
who?
But that's the only thing he mentions about it.
That's it.
That's why it's perfect.
So we all know. So it's just a
Who?
3-second thing. Peter says that. Uncle Ben. Did you not see
Shut
any of the
up.
Spider-Man movies?
He's being a-
I wonder if he means
No,
Mr.
Uncle Ben,
Obi-Wan.
He's being a bitch.
Uncle Obi-Wan.
No, Uncle
that
Ben's
wizard's
Rice.
just a crazy old man.
No, Uncle Ben's Rice, the dude from the
They so I think they did it perfectly.
end of spoiler.
So
That was it.
yeah, that was the only spoiler. It was just one line, and you already know that Uncle Ben's dead. So
Yeah, everyone knows that.
So they introduced him in Civil War. Tony pulled him into the fight to help him beat up Cap and everything. So at that point, he already has his powers, and Tony gives him a suit. So Spider-Man Homecoming picks up after that. I'm not sure how far after. It's probably pretty soon.
2 months after.
So, oh yeah, that's right. So he's talking, he tells all his friends, his cover is that he's doing an internship with Stark Industries with Tony
Which we get
Stark.
from the trailer, yeah.
Which we've seen in the trailer. So it already assumes that we know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, that he has these abilities, he got bit by a spider, blah, blah, blah. He built these web shooters, et cetera, et cetera. So they don't go into the origin at all. Since we've seen it 14 times, they know that they think we're smart enough to know that we assume what happens.
You gotta think,
and then we move forward from there.
We've seen Spider-Man's origin story 3 times already. 90s series,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
the first Spider-Man,
And
the
Raimi
second
and
Spider-Man,
Raimi
and now
and
we're on to the...
And the 60s cartoon series, too.
There was a 60s cartoon series.
I don't know if they showed
Hey,
the origin in
Periscope.
that, though.
Sorry, we're not
they?
paying attention.
I don't know if they did.
Sorry. But no, I think it was the best way to do it because they don't need to. The Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole is going through this entire timeline. So you don't necessarily need to pick out every single character and make sure we have a succinct storyline of how they started every single time. We can kind of just pick it up as they join in and then we just carry forward from there. So I think it was a great way to do it. We didn't have to waste time on that. They kind of played with the usual Spider-Man storyline for a few things. I loved it. And I don't want to really say too much more until you see it, and then we can do a full spoiler ass review next week.
Spoiler ass.
I will say, I did think Andrew Garfield was a good choice as Peter Parker.
That's my favorite. My favorite so far.
It just sucks that the script was just so bad and it just didn't really tie together. Because the problem with The Amazing Spider-Man is that they did spend the first 45 minutes going through the same origin story we've already seen.
Right.
The only difference was that they actually brought in what's her face, Gwen Stacy, instead of Mary Jane, which is the correct way to do it. So I mean,
I do think Tom Holland was more of a kid version, which is how he's supposed to start off.
Yeah, I think.
But
I think
and he's not like Tobey Maguire, who's 30, looking like an 18-year-old. And the movie starts like the last week of high school. He's literally he's 15. He's in high school. He's a sophomore.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be young like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you kind of saw a splash of that in Civil War, where he kind of just fucking
overwhelmed.
Empire Strikes Back, and then he just didn't know because he's so young still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool flash.
Underoos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I hope Tony Stark dies.
Eventually.
Well,
man.
I mean, their
Spoiler!
contracts are coming up soon, so
God,
they gotta
I'm
do
just
something.
done with him. I like Iron Man. I like Tony Stark as a character.
You're about to see that from Batman
Please.
throughout all the DC movies too, though.
Please.
That's true.
Say that again.
You're about to see that. You're about to see Batman in that same role throughout all the DC movies because he's heading the Justice League and getting people together.
Yeah, but
we're gonna have a Batman origin story.
Does head the Justice League.
That's true.
Yeah, but Tony does head the Avengers in
No,
certain
he doesn't.
storylines. He doesn't.
No, Nick Fury.
There's Nick Fury, and Doctor Strange is a large part
Doctor
of it.
Strange is,
And
I
he
think
hasn't even fucking been in anything.
even Mr. Fantastic.
Well, his movie just came out.
Yeah, the
though.
Fantastic Fours are big in it too.
Doctor Strange just came out.
right. He's just saying like
In
the
general.
fact that they keep bringing Tony back to be.
I would love.
I think it's easy because he's so wealthy and they've built up that character so much that they can play off of him so much easier. And the Fantastic Four shit.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to
though, now that Sony...
Jessica Alba's ass is our base. So we fly it. Like, what are you supposed to do?
And then Captain America is the Human Torch. But is he Captain America or is he the Human Torch? I don't get it.
I didn't
Oh my
even...
God, really?
Yeah, didn't
Same
even...
guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Just kind of like Ryan Reynolds, and he's what?
Green Lantern.
And Deadpool, yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah. And Snoke.
I thought there was one more.
Snoke.
Guaranteed. Got it.
Snoke,
Figured
Ryan
it
Reynolds,
out.
Snoke.
Woo! Balls deep in Spider-Man. Yes, we are.